So far, what we've gotten from Dynasty Warriors Origins, we've got a confirmation of 10 playable characters. The Wanderer, who is your main character and who you'll be playing with throughout the entire game. Then we have 47 characters, but only 9 characters from the 3 kingdoms are playable. There are 3 characters per kingdom that you can temporarily play as when filling up a bar during battle. The story itself, when involving the telling of the 3 Kingdoms era, only goes up to the Battle of Chirbi, while the Wanderer seems to have his own story on the side as we see the typical events play out of what established the 3 Kingdoms. This is already vastly different from a typical Warriors game that diehard fans are familiar with. From a longtime fan of the series, this can come as a massive blow for many. For other diehard fans, new fans, or even old fans that felt these games are getting stagnant with the same kind of content for 8 games straight, you might not care at all, and actually this might excite you. Me? To be honest, I'm in that population. I am very excited for this game. That is going to be what I talk about for this video. I'm going to be mentioning the features that I ended up experiencing when playing the demo, and seeing a bunch of other things as well through interviews and all that, so we can give some overall thoughts on this. So buckle up, this might be a lot to take in. So we recently got to play the demo for Dynasty Warriors Origins, and I played it on stream. This was something I definitely needed to experience so I can give a more definitive outlook on how I was feeling, since I wasn't really feeling 100% confident yet until I got the demo itself. For combat, it's actually really fun. To be honest, when I was playing it on stream, I was not doing it justice. There were more combos that you could do in the game, and I only found it out after my dumbass played the demo again off screen and looked through the options to see if there actually was anything else, and it definitely made for a much more fun experience. There are the usual stream of combos when hitting your squares and triangles. Felt similar to Samurai Warriors in my mind with the multiple triangle inputs. You have your normal attacks with square, strong attacks with triangle, Muso attacks with circle, jumping of course with the X button, guarding, which is also used to parry if you time it right with L1, a dodge/evasion mechanic with R2, and yes, they have perfect evasions and dodges as well, tactics with L2, which allow you to use your guard to do some attacks on a wide spread of enemies or one specific enemy if you want to take them out quickly. There are martial arts skills with L1 similar to your trigger attacks and special moves from DW9 and SW5, and there are a multitude that you can pick from which require a gauge called Bravery. Depending on the skill, it can cost from 1 Bravery to multiple. These can deliver some cool attacks and do good damage, as well as counter other officers' skills when they try to use it on you. Clicking both L3 and R3 will put you in a rage mode, which is basically an unbeatable form where you have a chance to deal out a lot of damage. The Bravery doesn't deplete when using your martial arts, and uses the rage bar instead. Once it's depleted, you'll finish with a devastating attack to finish it off for big damage. Your D-pad consists of left and right, allowing you to choose what items you bring into battle, and up is what you press in order to use the selected items. Down on the D-pad just messes with the minimap. You can call for a horse instantly by clicking L3, which, thank God, those horses are finally reliable in these games. They were very stupid in previous games when you tried to call for them. R3 lets you lock on enemies. There's not much else I can really say about that one. This one actually helps with a returning feature. When prompted, you can initiate a returning feature, Duels, with L1 and R1 at the same time, which, as you will expect, put you in a one-on-one fight with the person who issues you the challenge. It's a great feature, and it was one of my favorites, and I'm so glad it got brought back to Origins. Finally, once the gauge for them is full, you can hold down the touchpad and you can temporarily change characters to the one you brought alongside you in battle. They behave just like the Wanderer from a gameplay perspective, and the finish for them is in their rage state with a devastating Muso attack to finish, which clears out the entire area. I've seen it kill 1,000 enemies with just that attack alone. So let's go into the difficulty along with this gameplay. After the stream, I climbed through the difficulties in this demo, going from the easiest to the hardest. The Historian difficulty was basically easy one. It's for fun, casual experience, for your story purposes. Still gave a small bit of a challenge for a rookie like me, but once I figured the controls, I was able to pretty much clear the whole battlefield no problem and keep most of my allies alive. The notes say it is a difficulty just for easy story-based experience. Any attack that have a glowing indicator can be blocked. Triangle strong attacks and battle arts stagger enemies. It's much easier to gain bravery and fill your Muso gauge. And some enemy attacks just won't stagger you at all, so you're basically damn near invincible in this difficulty, once you are able to understand the controls better. Once I went into the Wayfarer difficulty, which is just your normal difficulty, basically take all those notes that you saw from the easy difficulty, Historian, chuck them away. They're gone. It's over. Allies were much more prone to dying, the AI are more challenging and aggressive, and I felt myself always on the move to keep our morale from being overwhelmed and keeping our commander alive. At the end of the day, it just gave a lot more of a challenging experience, especially for someone who just played it through the whole time on stream for the first time. It was definitely way more enjoyable going into the battle on Wayfarer for the first time than Historian, because I was able to see just what this game had in store for someone who is brand new to the game. And I gotta say, it was a great, challenging experience for me. After that, I went into the hero difficulty, which is your hard difficulty. And, man, that was an experience. As per, the notes say, enemies are more aggressive and have more powerful attacks. Blocking enemy attacks depletes your bravery, which again, is used for your martial arts skill, so you can understand how important that is. Enemies attack simultaneously more often. The timing for parries and perfect evades must be more precise, which you can believe a horrible gamer like me would struggle with. Battles between armies are decided more quickly, which can be very scary if morale is low on your ally's side. Enemies do not drop meat buns, which is terrifying since that is your means of healing, FYI. But you do get more reward, slightly, for doing said difficulty, and just for the thrill of battle in general. So as you can guess, it was quite a battle for me, but I managed at least to get a W in it at the end of the day. Wayfarer and Hero definitely helped bring challenge back to this series, since it was sorely missing that kind of excitement, in my opinion, in more modern Warriors games. It genuinely felt like there were more skill needed to get through these battles this time around. Once I was in the battle themselves, I was just blown away of how gorgeous this game looked from a Dynasty Warriors perspective. Not even from a full-blown visual standpoint, but seeing this large-scale battle with thousands of soldiers and so many officers on the map at the same time, and seeing the chaos unfold as I fight for the Wanderer's life was such a great thing to take in altogether. I had to play it more than once. They had a lot of bases on the battlefield that can be captured, and once captured, you can find meat buns for healing and even replenish your lost guards there as well, so you can continue to use your tactics. They have marked areas by letters where the major battles are happening across the battlefield that also have a meter to show who has the advantage. If the color of the letter is red, it favors the enemy, and of course if it's blue, it favors your allies. It's a great way to tell where you need to prioritize yourself, so you can make sure you get a total victory in battle and make sure none of your allies actually get defeated. There, of course, is the morale system back as well, as you can see on the bottom right under your map, which will let you know which army has the advantage. That bar is by far one of the most important systems because it determines the course of the battle. The more it is filled with either blue or red, the more the battle will favor that army. I love the significance of it being brought back because anything can happen that makes it to where the battle can be a breeze one moment and then a pure struggle the next. Now for the next subject, I don't have too much to put in here that will make it to where it needs to go super in-depth, but I will at least give the notes that I've seen so far. From news I've gotten from my community and interviews with the director himself, there are some things I actually really like that I've heard. One thing I was wondering about this game, how is replayability with it? Funny enough, I at least got one of those questions about it answered through an interview that took place. Branching storylines and replayability of Dynasty Warriors Origins continues the series' tradition of what-if scenarios. Players can choose to align with different factions, significantly impacting the narrative. To enhance replayability and allow players to experience various storylines without replaying the entire game, save points have been implemented at key decision moments. To make it easier for players to experience the full storyline, we've included save points that allow players to return to key decision moments and explore alternative storylines without having to replay the entire game. This feature ensures that players can fully explore the game's branching narratives without the need for multiple complete playthroughs. Already, that sounds like such a better thing than what I was thinking, which was having to go back and play the game's story multiple times. The fact that they have save points where you can go back at any time and do those things you missed is huge to me. So no mention of a free mode where those who are new and don't know previous games had this mode that allowed you to pick any previous battle and play with any playable character. I know that could be a hit since it most likely isn't going to be here for this game, but it does sound like it's once again not going to be for the authentic Warriors experience, and do something more tied to a single-player game experience where you just play through the story of the game. I'm at least happy to know that this will probably be a time-consuming game with different branching paths and multiple endings and everything. The next thing I have is that although it isn't a feature right now, people from my community have said that there is another interview with P Show that says there is consideration for multiplayer features in the future. If we are to get a game like this with a good and needs to be solid multiplayer or co-op experience, I feel this would be an amazing experience overall. And I do like that it's at least being considered for the future. So overall, I'm genuinely excited for this game. I have said this like a dying record over and over again, and for those who kind of share the sentiment, I'm sorry they had to keep hearing it over and over again. This isn't meant for a usual Dynasty Warriors experience. I heard from many different streamers and even other game outlets. Dynasty Warriors games are meant for Dynasty Warriors fans. That's it. It really doesn't reach out to any other fans who don't care for this thing, which is fine, but it doesn't give room to grow. This game goes away from the usual fan base and wants to expand, which from a business standpoint, you have to do so you can rake in more fans and means more profit, and shows that these games can evolve. It needs to be done, and the approach that KT, the director, the devs have taken is really good for them so far with how much positive feedback they've actually gotten from it. Outside of the Warriors fan base, which is understandably split, I have seen personally nothing but positive feedback on this game from new fans who have never touched the series, and those who I mentioned earlier who are old fans who got bored of the series and found it stagnant for having the same formula for 8 games straight. Change needed to happen for this series. I'm one of those die-hard loyal fans of the game since Dynasty Warriors 3, and even went back and played the older games too, and I also think they needed to change things up and get a new direction. It is even said here, Dynasty Warriors Origins is the next generation of Dynasty Warriors combat. Coming off a tepid Dynasty Warriors 9 and 9 Empires, this entry seeks to redefine Warriors combat and target a casual audience to bring lapsed fans and new eyes on the franchise for the first time in years. Primarily for me, it really goes on to bringing back in those old fans and bring in brand new fans who really weren't familiar with this series, but they kept hearing all the kind of negative and whatever else type of stuff that they got from the series, and we're like, there's no reason for me to touch this. But now there's reason for them to check out this series. And even if they go back into the other ones, cool, it could put more eyes on the older games as well, but this one is meant to just be a brand new direction for those specific fans that just either felt bored of the series or just never got to touch the series because they didn't find it to be interesting because it was so niche. This is their outlet for that, to where they can kind of experience the same type of story that we got to experience with all the other Dynasty Warriors games, but have it in their own more casual and more challenging type of perspective with the new combat and all that other stuff with this game. Personally, I'm so hyped for this new experience, regardless of how things go, whether good or bad, but I am beyond hyped and excited personally, and I can't wait to see how this new direction goes when I finally get my hands on it, for better or worse. But there you go. There's an overview and thoughts and some news with interviews and all that stuff. And again, overall for me right now, I am very positive. I still keep myself with a little bit of skepticism just in case it can be a little but right now I am very, very optimistic on how things are going after playing the demo, seeing more news on just what this director has in store for this series. I just think it's such a really refreshing experience overall. Like, I literally felt myself exhaling with so much just relief because it's so refreshing that we're getting something different, and the approach that they've done with this new thing is just amazing. Again, not for everybody, but for people like me who kind of did feel like I was diving off a bit in terms of the excitement, this thing really reignited me and even got me back into playing the old games. Maybe it'll do it for new fans and old fans as well. Who knows? But I just genuinely am very excited for it overall. But like I said, that is going to be where we finish up here today. Of course, be sure to give me your thoughts down below. Would greatly appreciate it. Let me know your overall thoughts and feelings, and if you're hyped for any of the news that you heard and got to see the gameplay and all that stuff too. If you played the demo, give your overall thoughts as well. Very curious. Be sure to hit that down below. And of course, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to my channel, like my content, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to hit 10K subs on the channel. We are doing amazing with the support on this channel so far lately. Thank you so much. I'm greatly, greatly appreciative of everybody, new, old. All of you have been so amazing and supportive of this channel, and I cannot thank you enough. More to come, of course, as well, especially when this game comes out. I am insanely hyped for it. But with that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your day and or evening, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Farewell.